Welcome, Commanders. We are going to review all the ships in Elite Dangerous. It is my hope that this all-ship review for Elite Dangerous will help you in your gameplay and which ship to choose for which situation. As it stands now in the summer of 2020, you can purchase 37 ships in Elite Dangerous. Some ships are going to be really good at exploration, while others are going to be good at trading and combat, or even passenger missions. Some ships are even considered space junk and aren't even worth the purchase, while others are almost overpowered. Small ships can land at any station in Elite Dangerous, while medium and large ships will have to track down stations with the appropriate landing pad size. The one thing I love about Elite Dangerous is just the sheer number of ships you can purchase within this game. And I love how each one has a different feel and sound effects for the engines and everything, how they all handle differently. It's really neat. Then you throw engineering into the mix and you can really take each of these ships to the next level, even some of the ones that are considered space garbage. You can make them pretty decent, I guess, but we'll get to that later. We are going to start with the Sidewinder, which is the basic starter ship, and we will end with the Cutter, which is the very last ship you can currently purchase in Elite Dangerous. Here we are on the inside of the Sidewinder and what it looks like to look outside the canopy, as well as on the inside on some of the dashboards and things. Trust me, you and your ship are going to need that first aid kit over there. The Sidewinder, manufactured by Falcon DeLacy, is the default ship for Elite Dangerous. This is the one you're going to start out when you first start playing the game. If you end up getting blown into space dust and you can't afford the rebuy on your ship, never fear, there's always a Sidewinder there waiting for you free of charge. Even though the Sidewinder is a jack-of-all-trades ship, you will probably spend the least amount of time playing Elite Dangerous in this ship, as you will be buying a new ship as soon as you possibly can. Basically, think of the Sidewinder as being an oversized ship-launched fighter. The Sidewinder is relatively maneuverable and it can pew-pew with its 2 Class 1 hardpoints. The thing is it's basically a box of space Kleenex. Here we are inside the Eagle's cockpit, and as you can see, it is much more sleek of a design than the Sidewinder. It doesn't feel like it's being held together by a bunch of duct tape. The view outside the glass in this ship is absolutely amazing. It's one of my favorite cockpits in the game, even though I don't play in the Eagle very much. The Eagle Mark II was manufactured by Core Dynamics and is the very first fighter type ship that you can purchase in Elite Dangerous. The Eagle Mark II is also the most maneuverable ship within the game, yet it is still a box of space Kleenex. Your life expectancy is basically tied to the amount of piloting skills you have when flying this ship. Make all the right moves and you can win the day. Make one wrong move and you can be blown into space dust, Commanders. Here we are inside the cockpit of the hauler, and it reminds me of going to a used car dealership and buying a car that doesn't have any extras, only an AM/FM cassette player. I don't like the cockpit in the hauler. It has a big giant ceiling panel blocking most of the visuals, but what can you expect from a cheap ship? The hauler was manufactured by Zorgon Peterson, and although it is classified as a hauler, this is one of the least expensive Explorer type ships you can get early on in the game. With only 1 Class 1 hardpoint for pew-pew, this ship is mostly designed for hauling goods or, like I said, a very low-cost Explorer build. Once you A-rate the frameshift drive in the hauler, this thing can start pushing into 37 light-year jump range. You can even outfit the hauler as a mining vessel and make a bunch of money fast. You just won't have any room for shields, so you might die. The inside of the Adder looks almost identical to the hauler itself. Of course it does, it's made by the exact same company. In my How to Have the Very Best Start in Elite Dangerous series, I progressed from the Sidewinder directly to the Adder. I turned this thing into an awesome little mining vessel and made tens of millions of credits. The Adder, manufactured by Zorgon Peterson. This is a true multi-purpose ship. It can kind of pew-pew with its 3 weapon points. It can also mine exceptionally well. Exploration is better done in the hauler. If you can hold off on buying the hauler and buy the Adder instead, it will be well worth the purchase. That extra internal slot is worth its weight in gold. One thing to note about the Adder is it has some of the coolest engine sounds in the game for a cheap ship. If you get the Adder, outfit this thing for mining, and in one trip you can make over 20 million credits. And that is quite a bit of space cheddar, Commanders. The Imperial Eagle has such a sweet and elegant cockpit design, you barely even notice that you're wedged in here like a sardine. When you look outside your cockpit, you are not obstructed by anything. It is nothing but glass, and you will see absolutely every single thread around you. Almost a complete carbon copy ripoff of the Eagle. The Imperial Eagle, manufactured by Gudamaya. God, I wish it would have been Gudameo, that would have been great. The Imperial Eagle might not be as maneuverable as the Eagle itself, but boy oh boy does it make up for it with speed. The Imperial Eagle is a master of strafing runs. You can zip in and then zip out before they can even bring their guns to bear on you. Just be careful, like with all small ships, if you do get shot, it's curtains, see? Curtains. This ship is definitely for commanders who want to experience combat in style. Every time I sit in the Viper Mark III, I am taken back to my childhood where I was wedged into a cheap aluminum boat and it was painted the exact same color. Not only has the interior been beat down by an ugly stick, the look out the window isn't all that great in my opinion. This ship is pretty meh. The Viper Mark III, manufactured by Falcon de Lacy. The Mark III can be best described as a combat ship that tries to be a jack of all trades and doesn't really succeed at anything. It might be fast, but it's not the fastest. It might have okay maneuverability, but there are ships in the same price point that do it better. The main thing you want to take away from this commander is the Mark III is a steaming turd. Just for a few 100,000 credits more than the Viper, you can get a much better ship. This one is by far my favorite small class ship in Elite Dangerous. You get a second seat for multi-crew, and the look outside the glass is absolutely amazing in this ship. I really do like the Cobra Mark III. In my mind, this is basically a little miniature Python. This is the famous Cobra Mark III, manufactured by Falcon de Lacy. The Cobra comes with 2 very well placed medium hard points and 2 small points, which means you can do the pew pew inside this ship. It also comes with 8 internal compartments, which really makes this thing a multi-purpose ship. The Cobra is more maneuverable, has a higher boost speed, and can carry tons more cargo than the Viper ever dreamed possible. If you're looking to ditch the Sidewinder for a different ship, let the Cobra Mark III be your choice. This thing is absolutely amazing. Yep. Just as ugly as the interior of the Mark III. The Viper Mark IV, manufactured by Falcon de Lacy. Basically, the Mark IV is a lesser maneuverable version than the Mark III, but it does have extra armor points. Which is a good thing because you're going to spend your time being shot in this ship since it can't turn very well. The Cobra Mark III has a higher top speed, a higher boost speed, is more maneuverable, can carry tons upon tons more cargo. I have to ask myself what in the hell Falcon de Lacy is thinking. They don't even need to make a Viper when they have the Cobra. The interior of the Diamondback Scout can be classified as one thing: windows, windows, windows. The first aid kit and fire extinguisher kind of have me a little bit worried. Is this ship safe, or am I gonna die out in the black? You know, asking for a friend. The Diamondback Scout, manufactured by Lakon Spaceways. Don't let the name of the Diamondback Scout fool you. This thing probably couldn't scout its way out of a paper bag. The hauler itself does a far better job than this ship could ever do. Don't get me wrong, the Diamondback Scout still can go out there and scout. It's just a lot of other ships do it better. This ship is better known for its cool running combat builds. You can get this ship to run so cold that you almost can't be targeted by other commanders. Don't buy this ship to scout. Buy this ship to create awesome fighter memes. I love the interior of the flying brick. It's pretty much just a bunch of glass and your computer panels. Whatever happens to you while flying this ship, you will most definitely see it coming. I love how the cockpit just like juts out of the front of this ship. The Type 6 transporter, manufactured by Lakon Spaceways. The Type 6 is a hauler class ship that can do passenger missions, it can haul a bunch of cargo, and it can also mine like a boss. It only has 2 small hard points, so you're probably not going to want to pew pew in this ship. Being a flying brick, you would be surprised just how maneuverable this ship is, which makes it very easy to escape NPC interdictions. The Type 6 is the very first medium ship you can purchase in the game, and as long as you don't try to pew pew in it, it's going to succeed for you. The interior of the Dolphin is so sleek and clean. This might be classified as a small ship, but there is plenty of room on the inside. The view outside the glass is awesome, with the canopy being on the very front of your ship. You'll feel like you're zipping through space in luxury. The Dolphin, manufactured by Sod Kruger. It might be classified as a passenger liner, but don't let that fool you, commanders. It is a pretty daggone good explorer ship as well. It will sort of haul cargo, but it is most definitely geared towards passenger missions. You can also outfit the Dolphin for mining. Pew pew, not so much. The Dolphin is not very maneuverable, so keep that in mind if you are going to take it out to do some pew pewing or do a little bit of mining. All in all, the Dolphin is a pretty good ship if you want to dabble in a little bit of passenger missions, do some exploration, or do a little bit of low-key mining. Here we are inside the cockpit of Age Cheddar. This is my Diamondback Explorer that I use all the time in Elite Dangerous. I have her completely engineered out and she gets over 71 light years of jump, which is pretty daggone sweet. This ship is worth every penny of its purchase price. The Diamondback Explorer, manufactured by Lakon Spaceways. This ship is one of the top choices for deep space exploration within Elite Dangerous. And if you get into a scrape with another commander or some pirates, it brings a large hardpoint and 2 medium points, along with 8 internal compartments. And the engine sounds in this thing, oh my goodness. Mwah! Perfect. You can even outfit this thing to do a little bit of low-key mining and make tens of millions per trip. The Diamondback Explorer is certainly worth a purchase, commander. She can do quite a bit and she won't let you down. The inside of the Courier is magnificent. I absolutely love this ship. The view outside the window is equally as awesome. Barely even notice that you have a big giant snoz hanging off the end of your ship. She might be small, but she's hella tough. The Imperial Courier, manufactured by Gudamaya. The Imperial Courier might be classified as a multi-purpose ship, but you will mostly be doing combat as well as exploration in her. She brings 4 utility mounts and 3 hardpoints to the battlefield, and although she has 8 storage compartments, they are relatively small, but what can you expect for a tiny ship? She also packs on higher than average armor, as well as a whole bunch of megajoules and shield strength. If you're that type of commander that wants to smoke people in style, then the Imperial Courier is for you. The view outside the cockpit of the Keelback is pretty awesome, and I love the fact that there's space floating beneath my feet. It's pretty safe to say that it's going to be hard to sneak up on you in this ship. She might look like a helpless mining or hauler vessel, but boy oh boy does she pack a surprise. The Keelback, manufactured by Lakon Spaceways. She's basically an upgraded Type 6 that has the ability to launch ship-launched fighters. The Keelback sports 4 weapon hardpoints and 7 internal compartments, 2 of which are size 5, which gives you great storage capacity. Unfortunately, she is not the most maneuverable ship out there, so keep that in mind, commanders. The Keelback is a nice low-cost medium ship if you're into doing cargo missions or mining. There might be other medium ships out there that can transport cargo and mine a little bit better, but none of them can do it as cheaply as the Keelback and still be able to launch ship-launched fighters. The Asp Scout, manufactured by Lakon Spaceways, is about the biggest space turd that was ever created in the game. Matter of fact, I'm trying to understand what in the hell the game devs were thinking. They could have just had 36 ships and this thing wouldn't even be missed at all. Don't buy this thing, it's utter garbage and a waste of your money, commanders. The inside and the outside of the Vulture is pretty sweet. Kinda reminds me of top secret military hardware that the Space Force will be using. The look outside the glass is also pretty awesome since the cockpit is perched on the very front of your ship. The Vulture, manufactured by Core Dynamics. It might be a small class fighter, but boy oh boy does it pack the heat. The Vulture has 4 utility mounts and 2 large hardpoints. It has 8 internal compartments, 2 of them being size 5. You can fill up the interior compartments with armor modules and all of your utility mounts with shield boosters, and this thing is a freaking nightmare to fight against. The Vulture is a pretty decent ship, but it doesn't really get the opportunity to shine until you get engineering stuffed into it. You gotta manage those heat issues. I probably spend more time in this cockpit than any other in Elite Dangerous. This cockpit is so encased in glass that it doesn't matter where you look, you are going to see the wonders of the universe. When I first started playing Elite Dangerous, I progressed from the Adder directly into this ship, the legendary Asp Explorer, manufactured by Lakon Spaceways. This ship is so good you could slap another $1 or $2 to the price tag and I wouldn't even bat an eye. Do you want a pew pew? Well, it has 6 hardpoints. Do you want to run cargo missions or do some mining? Well, the Asp Explorer is the very first medium ship that has access to a size 6 internal compartment. She's very maneuverable and has a pretty decent boost speed. The Asp Explorer is also one of the very best explorer ships within Elite Dangerous. Whenever I need to farm engineering materials, you guessed it, I hop into my Asp Explorer. I wouldn't be surprised if this ship design was ripped off for some top secret military project. The Asp Explorer is a jack of all trades, commanders, but man does it kick butt in every single department. Should you buy one? Yes. Don't let your dreams be dreams, commanders. The interior of the Federal Dropship looks pretty sweet, especially when it comes with not one but 2 coffee pots. The look outside the glass is pretty awesome, with the second chair being situated behind your left-hand shoulder. It's such a shame that this ship is mediocre at best. The Federal Dropship, manufactured by Core Dynamics. It is a combat and multi-purpose ship that clocks in at over double the price tag of the Asp Explorer. The Dropship brings 4 medium hardpoints and 1 large hardpoint to the battlefield, as well as 10 internal compartments. It has a higher than average armor rating, but has poor shields. It also has an absolutely abysmal jump range, even though it looks pretty daggone sweet. If you are going to take the Federal Dropship into combat, just make sure you turn it into a hull tank or you're going to get smoked. The Dropship is going to be a snail on the battlefield due to its maneuverability, so it's better suited at running cargo or doing mining. If you thought the Type 6 was a brick, meet his older, bigger, fatter, obese brother, the Type 7 Transporter. The look outside the glass could be characterized as, why do we need so many support pieces everywhere? It's kind of ridiculous, guys. I want to see the glorious space, not a whole bunch of window frames. The Type 7 Transporter, manufactured by Lakon Spaceways. Meet one of the slowest and least maneuverable ships in Elite Dangerous. It might have 4 utility mounts and 4 small hardpoints, but pew pew is not an option, commanders. Where it shines is its 10 internal compartments, 3 being size 5 and 3 being size 6. Its only other real saving grace is that it has a half decent jump range, so if you want to do passenger missions, mining, or do a little bit of cargo, you can do it. Just don't expect to be able to evade interdictions in this thing. It is pretty difficult due to its maneuverability. The last drawback is it requires a large landing pad to land on. The Type 7 will get your foot in the door doing transporter, passenger, or mining missions. Just make sure you don't get your foot shot off, commanders. Here we are inside the cockpit of the Alliance Chieftain, the very ship that was created to take on Thargoid interceptors. The cockpit design and the look outside the glass almost reminds me of a Starfleet runabout. You know, the Delta Flyer from Voyager? Anyways. The Alliance Chieftain, manufactured by Lakon Spaceways. She might have been designed to take on small alien craft, but she can also flex against other commanders. The Chieftain brings 6 hardpoints to the battlefield, 2 of them being large and 1 of them being medium, with 9 internal compartments. She has pretty daggone good maneuverability as well as a high boost speed. One of the drawbacks of the Chieftain is just how exposed the canopy is, so just keep that in mind, commanders. All in all, the Chieftain's a pretty good purchase. It's a decent combat ship, and it can even haul a little bit of cargo to boot. Purchase the Chieftain if you want to get your foot in the door beating up some Thargoids or delivering cargo with fangs. I'm pretty sure the interior decorators used the blood of their enemies to paint the interior accents of this cockpit. The look outside the glass is pretty decent, and you can enjoy that view while sipping a cup of coffee made from either of the 2 coffee makers on this ship. The Federal Assault Ship, manufactured by Core Dynamics. The Federal Assault Ship is considered to be one of the very best medium-sized fighters in Elite Dangerous. She brings 2 medium and 2 large hardpoints to the battlefield, and although it only has 9 internals, it has very good maneuverability and very fast boost speed. She might have weak shields, but boy oh boy can you turn her into one hell of a hull tank. The Federal Assault Ship is really good at boosting in, dealing a whole crapload of damage to you, and then boosting out before you can bring your guns to bear on her. Should you buy the Federal Assault Ship? Well, ask yourself one question. Do you like blowing other commanders into space dust with the greatest of ease? If the answer is yes, then yes, you should. It sure is good to be back inside of Moneybags. This is my Imperial Clipper, commanders. The look outside the glass is amazing. Gudamaya only has 2 window supports and that's it. That's what I'm talking about. This ship is well worth a purchase. The Imperial Clipper, manufactured by Gunship. The Imperial Clipper is a prime example of one ship being able to do absolutely everything in the game well. Brings 2 medium and 2 large hardpoints to the battlefield, as well as 9 internal compartments, one being a size 7. Even though she requires a large landing pad to land at, this thing handles like a fighter more than anything else. It has a pretty good top speed and a daggone awesome boost speed. You can really boost up the shield power in the Imperial Clipper, which makes it a nightmare to fight against. This is one of my favorite mining vessels in the game that I don't talk about. Due to its agility, this thing is amazing at laser mining, and it can also mine core asteroids like a boss. Do you want to buy one? Why, yes you do, commanders. Time to talk about the next 2 ships that are worse than the Chieftain. The Alliance Crusader is basically a souped up version of the Keelback that tries to look like a Chieftain. Not even worth the purchase. The Challenger is basically a multi-crew version of the Chieftain, which doesn't even really need to exist since the Chieftain is better overall. Save your money, commanders, neither one of these ships are really worth a purchase. Here we are in the cockpit of the Federal Gunship, and I already have a hankering for a cup of coffee. The look outside the glass is pretty impressive, just don't expect the scenery to change all that much. This is one of the least maneuverable and slowest ships in Elite Dangerous. The Federal Gunship, manufactured by Core Dynamics. Watch out everyone, the tortoise has arrived on the battlefield. She might be as slow as a tortoise and as nimble as a sleeping cow, but if she gets her 7 hardpoints trained on you, you're in trouble. The gunship has the ability to launch ship-launch fighters, therefore adding even more DPS on top of that. You can cover this thing in turreted weapons, hop into your little ship-launch fighter, and just watch this thing destroy everyone around you. The Federal Gunship can be turned into one hell of a hull tank. It has abysmal jump range, but if you like the idea of having a mobile firing squad perched on top of a tortoise, then this ship is for you, Commander. The inside of the Krait Phantom is painted in red, which I guess is supposed to combat space madness. The view outside the cockpit is pretty decent, and there's supposed to be a coffee pot somewhere behind my right shoulder. I just can't see it. This is a ship you might be spending hours in, Commanders. The Krait Phantom, manufactured by Fer-de-Lance. The Krait Phantom is one of the very best exploration ships within Elite Dangerous. She might be classified as a multi-purpose ship, but she's best used as a mining or exploration vessel. She has okay maneuverability and a pretty daggone good boost speed. If you want to do the pew-pew, she still has 2 medium and 2 large hardpoints. She has the ability to do what the Asp Explorer can do, she just does it better. The Krait Phantom could be your ticket for exploring the black or raking in hundreds of millions in low temperature diamond profits. Obviously, if you like the color red, then this is the cockpit for you. She's an amazing explorer, one of the very best in Elite Dangerous. I reckon I'm gonna have to kill me some Thargoids. Here we are inside the cockpit of the Krait MkII. This is my go-to ship to grind combat rank. You guessed it, I get that combat rank by stomping a gigantic mud hole into the alien race that's threatening humanity. The Krait MkII, manufactured by Fer-de-Lance. This is the bigger, meaner, ripped big brother of the Krait Phantom. If you like the idea of launching ship-launched fighters, then this is the ship for you. She has 1 extra large hardpoint as well as much larger internal compartments. The Mark II might have the same maneuverability, but it suffers from less top speed and boost speed than the Phantom. With your 3 large weapon points on the top and the 2 medium ones on the undercarriage, it makes targeting a little bit tricky. But once you find the sweet spot, it is pretty easy to keep all 5 of your hardpoints trained on target, especially if you use turreted weapons. The Mark II is pretty decent in combat, especially with its ship-launched fighter. You can run passenger missions, you can do cargo missions. This thing mines exceptionally well. It can kind of explore, but the Phantom does it better. This ship is almost as glorious as the Python. The Orca is actually a pretty interesting ship. It might be classified as a passenger liner, but I think I'd better classify it as a multi-purpose ship, to be honest with you. Whatever you feel like doing, you can do it in luxury. The Orca, manufactured by Asp Scout. She looks just as beautiful on the interior as she does on the exterior. I've used this ship to do cargo and passenger missions, mining, as well as exploration. Just keep in mind she only has 3 hardpoints for the pew-pew. She doesn't have a really spectacular internal layout, but she does make up for that with a decent top speed and a really high boost speed. I would say one of her main drawbacks is that she isn't very maneuverable, Commanders. She certainly isn't going to be turning on a dime, that's for sure. Is the Orca worth the purchase? I mean, I like it. It's a pretty luxurious ship, Commanders. If you want to haul passengers over long distances, then this might just be the ship for you. Whenever I need to stomp a mud hole into somebody, I either choose this ship or the Corvette. The look outside the glass is tainted by the fact that you're just sitting off to the right of center of ship, so it makes it kinda awkward at first. The seating arrangement certainly is weird in the Fer-de-Lance, manufactured by Zorgon Peterson. Straight out of the shipyard, it's a pretty amazing ship, with engineering its next level. It has 6 utility mounts as well as 5 hardpoints, one of them being a huge hardpoint. Not sure what came over me, but let's continue. Here are the things I love about the Fer-de-Lance. You can turn this thing into a shield and hull tank. You still have a really decent jump range to get to the fight. And when you get there, you bring face-melting power, with decent maneuverability and a really high boost speed. This is by far my favorite medium-sized combat ship with a damn good jump range. Should you buy the Fer-de-Lance, Commanders? Yes, this ship dominates. Here we are inside the cockpit of the Mamba, which I like to jokingly call the midlife crisis. The interior has an almost futuristic sports car feel, and the look out the glass is absolutely amazing. Should you buy one? Let's find out. The Mamba, manufactured by Zorgon Peterson. The Mamba is a less maneuverable version of the Fer-de-Lance, but it has a higher top speed as well as a higher boost speed. It's also the only other medium ship in the game that has access to a huge hardpoint. The Mamba has one more large hardpoint than the Fer-de-Lance, but it's cursed with 2 small hardpoints. The internal compartment layout in the Fer-de-Lance is better than the Mamba, meaning the Mamba can't hull tank quite as well. The Mamba mainly relies on drive-by shooting tactics, zipping in, dealing a whole boat ton of damage, then zipping out before you can bear guns on her. The other thing you should consider is the Mamba requires engineering before it becomes a really good ship. Should you buy one? I don't know. I think I'll stick to my Fer-de-Lance. Here we are inside my favorite ship in Elite Dangerous. If for some reason I was only allowed to play this game in one ship, it would most definitely be this ship. Here we are, ladies and gentle commanders. This is the glorious Python, manufactured by Falcon de Lacy. The Python is the very definition of a multi-purpose ship. It can haul the most cargo and passengers of any medium-sized ship. If you want a pew-pew, it has 3 large and 2 medium hardpoints. It has the ability to haul 294 tons of cargo, which is absolutely ridiculous for a medium-sized ship. The Python is a low-temperature diamond mining wet dream. It can easily help you gain entrance into the Billionaires Club, Commanders. If mining isn't your thing, you can do passenger missions and earn up to 150 million per hour in the Python. The internal compartment loadout of the Python is virtually identical to the Krait MkII, with the exception of the Python having one extra Type 6 compartment. The trade-off is the Python does not have the ability to launch ship-launched fighters. If it did, it'd probably be the most OP ship in the game. Welcome to the cockpit of the slowest and least maneuverable ship within the game. The look outside the glass is pretty glorious. At least you'll be able to see your death coming. It's not going to be a big giant surprise. The center of Yo Mama's So Fat jokes, the Type 9 Heavy, manufactured by Lakon Spaceways. The Type 9 Heavy is a master of moving cargo. It is also pretty daggone good at mining low temperature diamonds. Attempting pew-pew is pretty comical, but its internal compartments is where this ship shines. You can knock out wing cargo missions in this thing lickety-split. You can even knock out your power play cargo missions in just one run. For new commanders, due to its size, it is kinda hard to squeeze it through the mail slot, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too bad. One of the main things is, this ship is a pain in the ass to get out of interdiction without upgrades, so keep that in mind. Should you buy a Type 9 Heavy, Commanders? I don't know. I'm too busy playing my Python, my Anaconda, my Corvette, my Cutter. You know, I'm pretty busy. But I do own one just to knock out the power play missions in one run. The cockpit of the largest luxury liner is pretty glorious, and so is the view outside its windows. This is the magnificent Beluga Liner, manufactured by Saad Kruger. The Beluga might be able to haul a decent amount of cargo, but where this ship shines is long-distance passenger missions. She isn't very maneuverable and has mediocre top speed and boost speed at best. Should you buy one? Well, that's really up to you. My Python can actually make more money per hour doing passenger missions than the Beluga can. The Type 10 Defender basically has the same interior as the Type 9. You could sip a cup of coffee while watching all of your turreted weapons smoke your enemies. That is, if you can get behind them. The Type 10 Defender, manufactured by Lakon Spaceways. This is a mutated version of the Type 9 with a spoiler. The Type 10 is definitely geared towards combat and trading and little else. When doing the pew-pew, turreted weapons work really well just due to the fact that, well, the placements of the hardpoints are rather interesting. They're not really focused in one location, they're just kind of peppered all over the ship. Just like the Type 9, the Type 10 suffers from horrible mobility and poor speed. Of course she can haul cargo, but really what's the point? If you want to haul cargo, just do it in a Type 9. If you want to do combat, do it in the Type 10. Basically, this is just a meme ship commander and it really isn't worth the purchase. Just stick with the Type 9 or move on to something better. The inside of the Anaconda is spacious and glorious, but what's not to like about it? It's obviously just a gigantic python. The view outside the glass is pretty sweet, and you barely even notice the support beams considering how massive the window is. This is the magnificent Anaconda, manufactured by Falcon DeLacy. Back in the day, purchasing an Anaconda was considered winning the game. Now, thanks to my best start guide, you can own one of these things in less than 8 hours from starting the game. The Anaconda is a true multi-purpose ship. It's good at the pew-pew, it's good at hauling cargo, it's good at doing passenger missions, it's good at doing mining, it's pretty much good at doing everything. It's also the very best explorer in the game. This ship is a legend and an icon of Elite Dangerous. If you don't own it, where the hell have you been all your life? You're obviously living under a rock. The only reason you don't have an Anaconda is because you can't afford an Anaconda. So watch my best start video and you'll be able to purchase one very quickly. When you absolutely must stomp a mud hole into somebody, you choose the Federal Corvette. This thing has almost as much firepower as a freaking Death Star. The view outside the glass is great. You don't want to miss the explosions of your enemies. The Federal Corvette, manufactured by Core Dynamics. Considering just how massive this ship is, it has surprising maneuverability for its size. This beast has 7 hardpoints, 2 of them being huge and 1 of them being large. It has a pretty decent internal layout, meaning you can do passenger missions as well as cargo. Heck, you can even mine in this thing. The one thing you won't be doing in this is exploration, though. It has pretty abysmal jump range, but what can you expect from a massive ship that isn't an Anaconda? When you light somebody up with all 7 hardpoints, they melt so quick they probably don't even have time to poop their britches. Grinding for the Federal rank can be a little bit of a chore, commanders, but it is definitely worth the purchase. It's nothing like driving a Corvette in space. Definitely one of my favorite ships in the game. Heck, I even have 3 of them, all engineered out for different tasks. This is the last ship in this review, and if you had to choose one ship in the game, this could very well be it. The Imperial Cutter, manufactured by Gudamaya. The Imperial Cutter is classified as a multi-purpose ship, and they are not kidding. It can kick a whole bunch of butt in battle, it can do cargo missions, it can do passenger missions, it can pretty much do every daggone thing in the game exceptionally well, except for exploration. When you turn the Cutter into a shield tank, other commanders will cry buckets of tears. It's almost game-breaking. She might not have a very high top speed or great maneuverability, but she has fantastic boost speed, which makes her amazing at boost mining. If you use my mining cutter build, you will be able to make over 5 million per minute. No joke, commanders, this ship is absolutely amazing, and if you grind out the Imperial rank, she is well worth the purchase. There you have it, commanders. This is my all ships review for Elite Dangerous. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.